Hello people, I am Jabby Kuwait, joining me is Achara Kirk.
Hi.
We're going to do Honest Trailers Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Warning, the following video contains spoilers for Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Guys, you've seriously got to learn how to spell rogue.
So true.
You remember A New Hope. You remember Darth Vader. Now, prepare to remember the handful of years between the rise of Darth Vader and the start of A New Hope.
We call it the Death Star.
Uh-oh. They're gonna just rehash everything from Star Wars, aren't they?
I've got a bad feeling about it.
Rouge One, a Star Wars story. Get ready for Disney's first Star Wars anthology movie, because there's no way in hell they'd call it Star Wars Prequel number 4, in what has to be the most money anyone's ever spent to fill in a plot hole.
That's the place I've laid my trap.
That answers your most pressing questions. How exactly did the rebels get the plans to the Death Star? Did they grab a data tape with a giant claw machine, then use a big antenna to beam the data tape to a ship? And then did that ship transfer the data to another smaller tape? And then did Princess Leia copy that smaller tape onto a tiny droid's hard drive? You know, whoever said this one is as good as Empire must be really into file formats. Meet an all-new gang of rebels you, how do I put this? Shouldn't get too attached to.
Yeah.
Like Jyn Erso, the rebellious rebel who rebels so hard she does whatever her dad tells her.
It must be destroyed.
I know. We will.
Whatever her surrogate dad tells her.
Go with him, Jyn. You must go.
And whatever her new coworker tells her.
I'm coming with you.
No, we can't risk it.
But sometimes she's pretty grumpy about it. Rebelling alongside Jyn is K2SO, a droid with more personality than any of the human characters.
Yes.
Yes, I like him.
Cassian said I had to.
Cassian, a rebel whose most heroic moment comes when he doesn't murder someone for once.
I had every chance to pull the trigger, but did I?
Saw Gerrera, an extremist cast out of the Alliance by extensive reshoots. Tyrit, the blind guy who's technically not a Jedi, but, I mean, come on. Look at this
He's
guy.
awesome.
And his friend, Gunny McShootface.
Gunny McShootface.
I'd add more, but that's pretty much all there is to this guy. Cower before the might of the Empire, as various old dudes squabble over who gets credit for the Death Star.
We stand here amidst my achievement, not yours!
While down on the battlefield, stormtroopers are rolling out in 2 brand new flavors, but with the same old incompetence we're used to, whether they're missing easy shots.
Yeah, they're the worst.
Casually getting taken out, or setting up their weakness to sticks that the Ewoks would take advantage of.
Yeah, with Donnie
Why do
Yen.
they
Yeah,
bother
come
with the
on.
armor at all? Enjoy one of the most beautiful Star Wars films to date that feels like the world's biggest budget fan film.
Yeah, it does
Full of
actually.
Easter eggs that will have die-hard fans saying,
Gold leader, red leader.
awesome!
The Guardians of the Wheels.
I get that reference. Hey, it's prequel guy. Blue milk, cool.
Why does nobody ever tell me anything, R2?
Okay, I like him.
You just watch yourself.
So that's where those Cantina guys were.
Yeah.
They were walking around.
T-15's a bit marked obsolete.
T-15s. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that one up later. Whoa, what an awesome way to put Tarkin in the never mind.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
This feels wrong somehow.
Yeah.
But nothing will
CGI.
service fans harder and faster than Darth frickin' Vader, as a much older sounding James Earl Jones tries to give us a new iconic scene.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations.
Who let George Lucas write a line? But just when you think he's been wasted, extend your lightsabers for the most badass Star Wars moment put to film, the hallway scene. Which makes Vader's next fight in the timeline even sillier than it already was. Ooh, do more tricks. Not starring. The following shots you saw in the trailers that weren't in the movie. Jyn versus a TIE fighter.
That's right.
The group working together.
Yeah.
Actual heisting. War-torn Scarif. This iconic shot of Jyn undercover. Unused Vader? Saw Gerrera's other haircut. The shot they based the whole marketing campaign on. All these other cool shots. And this line.
This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel.
Okay, cutting that would make sense. Suicide Squad, an unnecessary Star Wars story.
Those were really cool.
Yeah.
And I agree, it looked weird that Vader was like just whipping ass left and right and just like fucking people up trying to get to the hard drive or whatever it is. And then in the next movie, he's just pretty chill. Like by comparison, he looks like a really evil guy. And then you see him in episode 4 and he's dialoguing with the princess and you're like, wait, this is the dude that just like ripped through a bunch of, not even asking questions, just killing people, just like straight up hardcore murder. And then he's having a dialogue with the princess.
I agree that the best character was the droid.
The droid was the best character.
I loved him.
I didn't pick up on Darth Vader's voice sounding older until Screen Junkies mentioned it, but once they said it, I was like, oh yeah, he does sound much older, doesn't he? I didn't think that hard about all this format and data and you know, being transferred and whatnot until they pointed it out here, and now that they pointed it out, I can't unknow it. It does look kind of silly.
Right.
Like they're pulling it from this massive hard drive and beaming it up to this other thing over here, and then eventually it gets down to this little tiny disc. It's all magic, so it doesn't really matter that much. It does seem kind of obsessed with odd details in the movie. Like they are pulling from these massive discs to make it feel more like an older movie. Come to find it's on a little.
And that thing at the end with all of the scenes in the trailers that looked really, really cool and never made it into the movie. What was that about?
Yeah, it disappointed me too. There was a lot that was cut from the film. I think that what happened was, if I recall correctly, the film was actually darker before, and they removed things to make it less dark, which is odd to me. I mean, you know going into it that this is a tragedy.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they should have just went all the way with it. All those cool shots that they were talking about in the marketing, it would have been nice to have all that, but
yeah.
Oh well. I was confused by, what's his name's haircut in the movie. Like, he had that bushy hair, and I'm like, wait a second. This is not the end of his part in the film, right? He's got another haircut coming and then there's never came. This is a very well put together video dissecting a lot of the issues with Star Wars Rogue One. I didn't like the CGI on any of the human characters that were CGI'd.
Especially on Carrie Fisher for me.
You didn't need close-ups. You could have just avoided that altogether. When you saw the back of Carrie Fisher, you knew who it was. You didn't need to see a close-up. When you saw the other dude who was in charge of the Death Star or whatever. I forget his name. The Admiral or whatever. I didn't need close-ups of him. If you kept it wide or kept it like in the shadows or something, or just got another actor, that would have been cool. Thank you, Screen Junkies. That was a very, very funny video, and it was very well put together and informative, and it informed me of new things that I wasn't even considering that I am glad to know.
No.
No.